Good morning, Salam. Good morning to everyone. We will be starting this session shortly, but we'll await participants to join in. Yeah, so the session is on already. Good morning to everyone, or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. We will be starting shortly. Okay. Good morning, Salam. Good morning to everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. So we will be starting the session. So the session is live. There are people joining in, and there may be people joining in the coming minutes as well. But let's just give it a start. Also, seeing the session is being recorded and will be shared later as well. So good morning. Good morning. My name is Jeroen Jurjens, and I'm working for Wetlands International as Program Manager, Community Resilience, and I'm your facilitator for the session today. Welcome to all participants of the session on integrated landscape development approach in the Central Rift Valley Sub Basin in Ethiopia, which is one of the iconic wetland landscapes in Ethiopia. We have a great set of speakers joining us today in this session, who I will shortly present to you. Lalisa and Redwan, we are not meeting in person today, like a couple of months ago in Ethiopia, but it's my pleasure to warmly welcome you to the session online at the start of the Stockholm World Water Week of the year 2023. Welcome, Mr. Lalisa Mekonnen, representing the Ethiopian Wildlife Conservation Authority. Salamno, good morning to you.
Good morning, thank you.
Good morning, Jeroen.
Yeah. Good morning, Mohammed Redwan, working for Wetlands International Ethiopia. And a warm welcome to all of you online who managed to join in this session. In this session, we will aim to describe the Central Rift Valley and its challenges on water security, and present how we work in this context in an innovative way, both in terms of approach and in terms of the governance setup. The speakers will share their experiences on applying a landscape-based approach to restoration linked with livelihood activities. Furthermore, they will share an interesting case of successful multi-stakeholder coordination and collaboration. This work has many ingredients for positive change for the resilience of both people and nature in an ecosystem under pressure, and is an inspiring case for other similar wetland landscapes. It builds on our long-term engagement in the Central Rift Valley and specifically presents works done under the Source for Sea program funded by the Swedish International Development Corporation. This session lasts 30 minutes only, but 30 minutes well spent. It will be recorded, so it can be watched back later and shared to others. In importance, you as participants can ask questions during the session in the chat of the session, which is at the bottom of your screen, in the middle of the screen. At the end of the session, we will let the presenters reply to some of the questions raised. So let us not take more time and start with the session. Can we go to the next slides? And the first part of the session is actually a short introduction on the host of this session, which is Wetlands International as an organization. Wetlands International is the global organization for wetlands globally, and works on restoration and safeguarding of wetlands for the sake of people and nature. We work from an approach of inspiring, mobilizing, and upscaling society to enable change and upscaling of change in wetland restoration globally. So we do that by giving insights and knowledge and spreading that knowledge and providing inspiring examples on the ground, and share those examples to others to copy and replicate them. We work with stakeholders in coalitions and in stakeholder coalitions working together to drive change. And we do that in an integrated approach across landscapes. And what we aim for is that we upskill our efforts, seeing the climate and biodiversity crisis the world faces. This is much needed in the world today. And we need others to work together with us to be inspired by examples on the ground and take more and better sustained action to safeguard wetlands for the future of the people and nature in the world around us. So without further ado, I would like to present the first speaker to you, which is my colleague Redwan from Wetlands International Ethiopia, where he is in the position of ecosystem lead of the Central Rift Valley. He will present the challenges and that are being faced by the Central Rift Valley sub-basin in Ethiopia, and then will shortly explain how Wetlands International has been applying an integrated landscape approach to development there. Redwan, over to you.
Thank you very much, Aaron. Good morning, everyone. I'm Redwan Mohammed, work for Wetlands International, East Africa, based in Ethiopia. Most of my presentation focus on the progress on the ground and the change we have achieved in terms of implementing this landscape approach. Next slide, sorry. Yes, this is the map. This is the map. You can see at the right and left hand side the highland and then the middle land. There are also lots of lakes in the Rift Valley, especially 4 known lakes that are naturally interconnected. And this basin or this sub-basin is part of the Great Rift Valley, and there are a lot of challenges, especially the degradation of the upper catchment. When you look at the eastern and then western part, you can see the highland, and there are a lot of degradations in terms of clearance of forest and also the erosion and degradation. That's caused high impact on the lakes in the Central Rift Valley due to high siltation and also pollution and also related problems. There are a lot of activities around the lake, especially Lake Ziway, where the high investment and also smallholder farmers are practicing this irrigation agriculture using the lake water. And there are a lot of chemicals coming in, and also high agricultural inputs, then including fertilizer and different chemicals. And that also has an impact on the water body. Therefore, our landscape approach, looking into large picture, where we are initiated these restoration activities and the watershed management activities on both highland areas in the eastern part and western part of the basin. In the center, we are trying to work on with the farmers, especially with the Makibatu Union, where they have more than 9,000 members, and we are training the farmers to use water wisely and also try to minimize the pollution on the lake using different techniques. For example, we introduced vermicompost instead of using the commercial fertilizer, which is very costly, as well as has an impact on the soil and also the biodiversity. We are promoting that with the union, and therefore it's about protecting the environment from both sides, eastern, western catchment, and of also ensuring the minimum flow in the water quality in the middle catchment, to also so that address the issues in the lower catchment around Lake Abiata. Therefore, this is I will explain the projects and also some of the challenges. Next slide, sorry. Yes, this Rift Valley has unique hydrological and ecological characteristics. As you can see, we have 4 huge lakes, Lake Shala, Lake Abijata, Lake Langano, and also Lake Ziway or Dumbal. Therefore, you can see the highlands from the eastern, western, even the northern part. There are a lot. There is a degradation, as you can see. As I mentioned, we try to look into the larger picture of the sub-basin and trying to work with the stakeholders, including the government structure at local level and also the community as well. The other one is the population. The population, the sub-basin are more than 2 million. Therefore, we need to address the problem as much as we can by coordinating the community, the local stakeholders, and also partners as well. The major activities in the landscape or in the Central Rift Valley is irrigation agriculture, which I mentioned, especially around Lake Ziway. The livestock rearing, especially in the lower catchment, and also floriculture, fishery, and as well as we have also tourist attraction in like Abiata Shala Lakes National Park. Therefore, there are a lot of problems, as I said, in the middle catchment, and lower catchment, and also in the highland areas. Therefore, the program is looking, as I said, into the landscape, identify the key problems, key challenges in the landscape, and addressing those issues. Next. Yeah, some of the major challenges are, one is water scarcity. As I said, excessive water abstraction, especially from the fresh water of the Lake Ziway. Therefore, we are now working closely with the community on how we can try to minimize water use as well as pollution. The other one is loss of ecosystem. As I said, that's also due to siltation, degradation, and also related pollutions. Many stakeholders with different interests, that's obvious. We have private companies, we have farmers, we have government, and also we have NGOs operating in lands. Therefore, all have different interests, and therefore we are trying to bring those interests together and then act in coordinated way. Lack of consistent data is a problem also. We don't know what happened before 20 years ago, 10 years ago, and then that's also one of the challenge. The upper catchment degradation I already mentioned. Population growth is everywhere. Therefore, it's also one of the challenge. Water quality deterioration is also due to use of chemicals and also agricultural inputs. Therefore, that's these are the main challenges for the Ziway Shala Sub Bain. Next. Yeah, what has these are what has been achieved by Wetlands International through different projects. We have around 4 projects in the landscape, and we are the first to demarcate buffer zone on Lake Ziway together with the stakeholders, and now we demarcated around 25 kilometers, and we have 1,692 beneficiaries bordering the lake. The other one is landscape restoration. Now we are restoring around more than 3,500 hectares of land, and around 4,860 people are directly benefiting from that. When you look into the larger picture, we are now benefiting around 2 million people in the landscape. That's one thing. The other thing is, as I said, based agronomic practice. We are working with the Makibatu Union, who have more than 9,000 farmers on water use, chemical use, and also the water quality management. Therefore, we are trying to train them to move from the conventional one to the improved agricultural system. That's including considering the impact of the agricultural activities on the environment. The other one is the partnership issue, and also we are trying also to influence the national policy as well. Next, sorry. Next. Next slide.
Yes, there's a bit of delay. The next slide is visible.
Yeah. This is some of the activities, especially soil and water physical, soil and water conservation activities, where we have more than 2,500 beneficiaries, especially in Abiata Shala Lakes National Park. These are some of the physical and soil and water conservation activities. Therefore, the restoration activities takes time and also resource, and we call all partners or all attendees to be part of this. And we are inviting you, whenever you have a visit to Ethiopia, you can have our contact and visit our work in Central Rift Valley. Thank you. I want to hand over to my colleague Lalisa from Abiata Shala Lakes National Park, representing EWCA, Ethiopia Wildlife Conservation Authority. Thank you.
Yes, Galatama, thank you very much, Redwan. Great from your presentation to understand the Central Rift Valley a bit better and its challenges. And great to hear a bit on the work of Wetlands International. And thanks for pointing out to the important role that local community members and local stakeholders play in this landscape. And indeed, happy to turn to our second speaker, Mr. Lalisa Mekonnen, representing the Ethiopian Wildlife Conservation Authority, who will share more of the practical experiences of applying the approach in practice. Mr. Lalisa, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you so very much, Jeroen and Redwan, for your precious presentation. Good morning, everyone. I'm Lalisa Mekonnen from Ethiopia Wildlife Conservation Authority. And here I am presenting for integration of landscape-based restoration with livelihood development and options for ecosystem resilience. As Redwan presents, the Rift Valley basin is found in the central area of our countries, and also Abiata Shala Lakes National Park is found in the central of the Rift Valley basin, incorporated Abiata Shala and the small and the precious lake Chittu, which is the feeding and resting site of flamingos. Maybe we can count at the time 10 to 40,000 flamingos on the small lake Chittu. And to resolve those problems impacting the Rift Valley basin, we, EWCA, or Ethiopia Wildlife Conservation, and the Wetland International has been working together from 2020 to 2021 on various community awareness sessions, especially how to manage, how to conserve the national resources with community participatory, and also capacity building, support the park management and also surrounding stakeholders, restoration of degraded habitats, especially on the upper catchments and on the buffer zones of the lakes, and also ecotourism development and eco-friendly alternative livelihoods development to tackle the impacts of the surround, and also providing alternative energy sources, especially the local towns on the surrounding use a lot of fuels and fuel woods and the charcoals. So we have to do on the alternative energy sources, and also we are doing on stakeholders platform and the policy advocacy, especially on wetland management and also lakes buffer zone. We are doing on those interventions. Please, next slide. From the community participation, we are strongly doing with communities, especially on awareness session at schools, and also where communities are communicated together for meeting and also some issues, and also capacity building, especially on wetland management and also on livelihood development, taken for selected CBOs on specific trainings. Are doing on specifically on community participatory and also livelihood improvements. Next slide. From restoration of degraded habitats, we are restored around 3,301 hectares on the top of Mount Fike, which is road to Lake Abijata and also to Lake Shala, and also the core area of the national park, which is conserving or the habitat of greater kudu and also another wildlife. By this, we are doing on soil and water conservation structures such as the dredge, Afmu, Ibro, and so on. Totally, still we have done around 31,159 meters soil and water conservation structures to mitigate the soil erosion from the top area to Lake Abijata and the Lake Shala. Next. Yeah, thank you. Ecotourism and eco-friendly alternative livelihood development is we organized around 12 CBOs, community-based organizations, which incorporates 15,799 people directly supported on ecotourism activities, and also short and cattle fattening, especially around 7 CBOs are participating on short fattening, and around 2 CBOs are also participating on cattle fattening, and also poultry value chains from the surrounding cabales. Around 20 women, especially who are poor and also doesn't have any supporters, are selected and got trainings, and also the poultry materials are supported, are given for the women, and also they are trying to participate on the poultry. Next. Sorry, next.
Yeah, sorry, sometimes there's a bit of delay in moving to the next, but please keep on going and maybe be mindful of time.
Thank you very much. One of the activities is providing alternative energy sources. So we are doing specifically on energy saving stoves, which you are seeing here. One CBO is producers of energy saving stoves, and also the surrounding poultry beneficiaries are also supported by this saving energy stoves. And also we are doing specifically on next slide, please, on stakeholders platform. As you know, our national park is bounded by 3 waradas. So we have the quarterly monitoring and evaluation meetings by those all stakeholders, and also the gap assessment on wetland and the biodiversity conservation policy is also working. Policy brief paper developed and also shared with all for all concerned government bodies. And also the new Rift Valley stakeholders learning platform is established, and the MEO is already signed, who is responsible for each activity and who have to do any activities to conserve and manage the legal activities and also other activities around the Rift Valley Basin, especially around Jata Shala Lakes National Park. Next. Yeah, what are the main outputs we found by doing these activities are also here. On the livelihoods improvement, around 3,445 per paid for 8 CBOs from restoration activities. And also community are very positive for their conserving natural resources and also for doing with conservation organizations. And also traditional wildlife law are initiated, especially Greater Kudu is nominated as a member of human being or a member of GADA system by the group of Dawe on the surrounding, and also around 3 kiosks of drinking water is prepared for the surrounding Kabbales on 2 Kabbales. There is also good relationship for working areas with local communities and the surrounding stakeholders, and the vegetation, especially plant species which are also degraded or is also planting and restored, increasing soil formation and also soil productivity of the area. Habitat, especially species restored, especially Greater Kudu is increasing by number. Biodiversity recovered and the plant species is also around the lakes and the top mountain. The soil erosion is reduced and catch up on the top areas, and also improved aesthetic or beautification of the area, which means the area is greening and also the fish species is returned. So the surround is also very increasing for the ecotourism and the tourism attractions.
Great.
Mr.
Lalisa, Galatoma, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great results that you share here, and great examples of real practical, innovative local-based approaches that you apply in the landscape. Yeah, in the sake of time, because there's a hard deadline at the hour, I would want to thank you for sharing this great work. You referred actually to collaboration with stakeholders and a platform being established. Moving to the Q&A, actually, I would want to ask my colleague Redwan one question on whether you have some additional remarks in like 1 minute on stakeholder coordination, in addition to what Mr. Lalisa shared. Redwan.
Yeah, one thing. Yeah, thank you very much. One thing is about linking alternative livelihood with restoration, because most of the communities are dependent on natural resource, on forest and forest products. Therefore, linking livelihood with this alternative livelihood is very, very important. That's one thing I want to share. The other thing is about stakeholders platform. We managed to establish the stakeholders platform for Ziway Shala Sub Bain, where all actors from the government, from the NGOs, and also private sectors are part of that. And we are in the process of now developing common vision. And also we developed an MOU to sign, to share role and responsibilities on how to cooperate and how to collaborate in terms of changing the landscape, especially implementing the same approach also. Therefore, Wetlands International is leading this process with Ministry of Water and Energy. And we are happy that we are having a common understanding and also MOU to be signed soon. And then we will start working together as well. Therefore, it's not about implementing the activities or implementing projects. It's also about mobilizing the resources and the also potential stakeholders and partners in the landscape to do the same. And now our works are very exemplary, and most of the communities and also the partners are coming, learning from that.
Thank you very much, Redwan, for those additional thoughts in almost 1 minute. That's great, and great to hear this innovative governance approach there. Maybe, Lalisa, one question to you also to try reply in 1 minute, seeing this in the sake of time. If you would want to say what marks the success of your approach, what is the key thing that stands out, and what needs to be done in the coming year or years?
Again, sorry?
can you state like what is for you the most useful indicator of success of your approach?
Yeah, thank you very much. The successful approach in the area is restoration connected with livelihood improvement is very successful and very workable on the area. Due to the area is not more productive for agriculture, communities are degrading the areas for subsistence farming. So if we connect the restoration with livelihood improvement, we can increase the conservation strategies for the area, and also communities are very positive and also beneficiaries from these activities. So it is very nice, and also the stakeholder platform development is also very necessary to communicate on each point. Thank you very much.
Galatama, thank you very much, Lalisa, for sharing that, and great.
Maybe Aaron, sorry.
Yeah, I think time is up, Red One. Apologies.
I think maybe one word.
One word, sure.
Yes. Yeah, we are targeting the different social groups. For example, for women, improved cook stove and also poultry. For unemployed youth, cattle fattening and goat fattening. Therefore, we are targeting different social groups depending on the problem they have. That's also the unique feature of this project or our interest. Thank you.
It's actually thanks for sharing those two few words, because both of you clearly refer to the local communities and local stakeholders sharing their inspiration and their positive view on the future. And I recall from being in Central Rift Valley recently, where this local village leader was sharing a vision for the future. He was saying like, youth feels positive about the natural resources in this area again and sees a positive view for change. And a vision for the future he articulated was like, we would like to see an eco lodge in this area, and seeing the beauty of the landscape and seeing the livelihoods of people having increased. So this sharing of vision and the whole positive view that local communities and stakeholders share after working in this integrated landscape approach for development is clearly a key measure of success of the approach that you apply. Thank you very much for that. Some concluding remarks. Well, I think actually this quote of this village leader captures the essence of what we talked about. An integrated approach across the whole landscape is needed. Active involvement of communities is key. A link to improving their livelihoods, therefore, is needed. And the use of indigenous knowledge and science can really enhance restoration efforts. It can be done. Let's do it together. Of course, challenges will occur, but a joint-up approach can beat those challenges. A landscape approach to development around water security then will give hope, inspiration, and positive spirit towards the future for both communities and stakeholders involved. Thank you all, Galatoma, and to be continued with all of us together.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. A special word of thank you to our speakers, Mr. Lalisa Mekonnen and Mr. Redwan Mohammed. Thanks a lot. Galatoma.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, recording stop.